And we are live. Hey, hello everyone.
Hello,
Hey
welcome
everyone.
to DevKami
Uh,
number 25 about jobs
yeah,
or
Yep,
gig jobs or whatever.
big jobs. I'm
just
Tristan.
I'm Chi
So
Leong.
I'm swimming, the most talkative guy, aka the non-introvert. Okay, so what's the first thing we have? So we have events happening next week, and as usual, it is packed. Why
Yeah.
do people like to make event at the end of the month? I never understand. That said, on Saturday we had a data science meetup in Kuala Lumpur.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, the ISVP have been already closed.
Oh,
So, well, whoever is there, see you there because I'm already registered myself.
do they actually check if you RSVP'd?
There's a Google form.
But do they?
Depends on the building. Sometimes they check it.
I
Yeah,
see. Okay,
correct.
so you
It
can't ninja inside if you
Yeah.
didn't RSVP.
correct. Yes, but
Okay.
it's the IAIA building, so the security is pretty tight. I remember.
Yep.
So, uh, it's Cap Square. So, but next one is on Monday. We had a health and tech meetup. Is this a pre-hackathon thing, or was it something else?
Not sure.
So,
Gonna check it
this
out.
happening in Menara HLA. Uh,
Yeah, it's a pre-hackathon.
yeah, it's a pre-hackathon. They talk to healthcare professionals and other developers at the event. Then on Tuesday, we have DevOps meetup on March 19th. So it will be at Plaza Central, Menara Maxis. Is it Menara Maxis or is that at Maxis office? So
No,
it's
this
pretty
is
easy to
Maxis
get.
Academy. Maxis
Maxis
Academy.
Academy
Yeah.
at Plaza Central is literally beside KL Central, not
Mm-hmm.
too far. So that happened on Tuesday 19. Then on Wednesday is JS Wednesday. That is happening at Microsoft Office
Yep.
at Menara.
So it's nearby as well, not near
Yeah,
KL Central, Plaza Central.
yeah. It's near. It's the same area around Plaza Central. So that's happening next week. Anything we forget that is not listed?
Nope.
Nope.
Cool. So next we're going to see what is happening last week. That's interesting. So anything that you think happened that is interesting last week?
Well, last week we had the Ruby meetup
Uh-huh.
at RR Soft, so that was okay. So
Cool.
lots of people, well, not lots of people, but the normal crowd.
Yep.
But yesterday, Chilong had the Golang screencast
Yeah.
with me and Manju,
Cool.
actually on the call, and some people streaming in.
Right.
So uh,
So probably if like experimenting whether I want to do it regularly because I want to like bring up the at least more people into doing Golang.
Mm-hmm.
Right now the meetup is a bit lonely. Yeah.
Okay. So another thing that happening last week is actually a whole series of tools released by Google, and I don't promise schedule, but I think we're going to skip over because we try to do event once for the next week instead of next 2 weeks.
mhm.
So, uh, do you know what is Spin Maker?
Spin Maker. What's a Spin Maker?
It's by Netflix and Google.
Hmm.
It's a continuous delivery system.
Hmm.
But to be honest, I only read it on the Engineers My Bus
Okay.
Corner.
I haven't
So,
read what it does.
okay. So, but it's used by Netflix and Google.
Supposed to
So,
streamline your deployment to Kubernetes, I guess.
oh, interesting. Okay. Is Firefox 10. Do you know is that this is actually very cool. I might play with it one time. So what's the okay? Let's say you want to share file between two people. How you do it?
USB drive.
Okay, let's say the other person is all the way across Singapore.
Dropbox.
Okay, valid point. It's all valid, right? So let's
Mhm.
say but do the other person need to have a Dropbox account to download it?
Probably. So in that case, if they don't really want it, I can upload it to my server that has
Yeah.
web server, basically,
Yeah.
so you can download it from there.
Except people like me is the laziest person on the planet. So even though I have a sandbox server, I won't do it.
Mhm.
So Firefox Send is actually a service where you seamlessly upload a file. And here's the cool thing. If you do it on email, your limit like 35 megabytes or so.
Yep.
Dropbox require registration. Your server also it's better, but a lot more setup. But Firefox Send without registration allows you to share a 1 gigabyte file. If you register, you can go up to 2.5 gigabyte.
I don't know how's the reception of like some of the biggest copyrights party, because this kind of similar services were used to be really common, like mega uploads and stuff.
Correct. Mega
Yeah,
upload do get shut down once, so I do
Yeah.
not know what happened.
They got shut down twice.
But this is interesting for a few reasons. One, there is actually a short is have a very short, what we call it, very short expiry time.
Yeah. Okay.
So it
How short is the short?
I forget, but I know there's a expiry, so that you can't practically use it for copyright infringement. But there is way. If there's way. Maybe that if we don't know this, they might use pigeons. Who knows? But here's the cool thing: it's encrypted, so you can share sensitive work-related thing over it. They use JavaScript, what's it, web encryption or JavaScript-based encryption. So it actually encrypt a file. So in theory, it should be safe. But I did not test how safe it is yet. So the next one is ACME protocol. So you know what is ACME protocol?
Yeah, that's what used by the Let's Encrypt to validate your domain name and assign you the TLS certificates.
Right. So so now this is now IETF standard, which is cool.
Okay. And the main thing is they're gonna phase out, because the new IETF standard ACME protocol is actually V2. So they are phasing out V1. So if anybody is like the early adopters, please take note about that.
And the last one is CSS working group for trigonometric function. This is from you, Tristan. What is about?
So a few days ago, well, maybe a few weeks ago, I guess, the CSS working group they approved trigonometric functions for CSS. So what happens is now they have sine, cosine, tangent, arccosine, arcsine, arctangent, square root, square root of the sums of its arguments, like hypotenuse function or the power of. So now CSS will do that, and the idea is that you can use this for more complex animations purely from CSS, no JavaScript required.
So we can potentially use this for game engine.
That's actually the joke on Reddit, that you will just keep on adding all of these functions until you can play Doom on your CSS.
So you can run JavaScript on CSS while the JavaScript runs your CSS.
So there's CSS in JavaScript, and then now eventually you'll have JavaScript in CSS.
Yeah.
So
it will be interesting. But yeah,
I just want to play Doom.
For animations, like complex animations, if we can get rid of the JavaScript portion, because JavaScript will need to be interpreted and compiled and those things, even though it's very fast, but because the browser itself will be the one to like the whole CSS will then be parsed, and then the browser is the one who compiles and renders the whole animation, then it should be faster. And you don't have to like do a lot of sandboxing for JavaScript, because CSS will be CSS. It's mostly about styling.
Okay, cool. This is awesome. Okay, final two things I want to say. Today is Pi Day. If you use American style date, or if you use the date component of ISO 8601, so it's March 14. And here's one cool thing I want to talk about Pi Day. Someone at Google Japan, using Google infrastructure, had calculated the number of the pi up to 31 trillion
Yeah.
digits.
That's why the service were down yesterday.
Oh, that explains so much. So what happened is these digits would require 170 terabytes of data, 25 virtual machine, and 121 days to complete.
Yeah.
So
At the expense of our Gmail.
yes, expand our Gmail.
What-
Google set our priority, man.
Would have been nice if it took 314 days to complete.
Yeah, it's done in 121 days. So
Yeah,
TT.
so it's
Okay.
extroverse it. If it was 134, then at least the digits are there.
Yes. Then final one. This is actually my new toy. Remember the sensor thing that engineers might bought?
Mm-hmm.
So the problem with the thing is it's not the easiest thing to work with. So I bought this thing. This is called an M5 stack.
So it's a cube with 3 buttons in front
And
and an LCD.
the most important thing is it got the interface port. So it's like the Arduino. It's like the Arduino in the way that they got all the digital I/O
Mm-hmm.
for you to communicate with sensors and whatnot. In this case, this one I bought it because it got what you call a UART. It's a 4-pin serial thing to communicate. It runs on ESP32, so it have internet. It can connect to the internet through Wi-Fi
Mm-hmm.
and Bluetooth. This thing actually have Bluetooth, BLE. It's Arduino compatible, but the difference is, as you can see, this thing are packaged.
Yeah, it looks very nice.
Looks
So
very clean and polished.
correct. What I didn't think through is, turns out that what is not packaged is our sensor. So I might need some.
This doesn't have a sensor inside?
No, this have the sensor, but do not have the particle sensor for haze.
Ah, okay.
By default, this one had microphone. It had an earphone. It got a speaker, RGB LED, 3 button. Those comes as sensor, and also magnetometer and accelerometer.
It's a science lab in a small box.
Yeah. It's 200 plus ringgit, and I think this one is a bit overkill because the sensor project do not actually need the accelerometer and all that.
Mm-hmm,
It's interesting. I just bought. I need an excuse. More importantly, this thing already have battery. Another issue, if you use Arduino, you worry about how do you power it. So this thing have battery comes in. So
it made it portable.
Yeah. I might need help with some of my 3D printing guys to actually make a casing so that I can plug the sensor to this guy.
Yeah.
So that I can bring it around.
You have a 3D printer, right? If I remember.
Yeah, I need to maintain the bugger. I kind of leave it for long.
I
Because
also have a 3D printer, but I've never actually used it. I
What?
just there.
so, and also I do not know how to design it, so I might need help to do that. So once I have that power and all that, I can make this portable. Then if it works well, then I can share the design, then use a cheaper version of the M5 stack, this M5 stack device, then make it portable for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big idea.
Oh, by the way, what happened to the sensor? Remember during the Python meetup, you were putting the sensor outside?
Oh yeah, so I test in different environments. Turns out that your office is dirty.
Yes, it is apparently.
My house is
Windows closed.
Yeah, but there is a construction nearby, so it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And in the house. So this last thing about this one is this one have MicroPython and a Scratch-like interface.
Mm-hmm.
But so I kind of don't want to flash it with the Arduino firmware, but I might have to.
So you're saying this has the Arduino, but the sensor you have to plug it outside, and that one doesn't have the case yet, right? That's why you need your
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I need to borrow a 3D printer. Then after that we can start hacking around. Also, this is too bright, but the default firmware of it is running rock, paper, and scissors.
I see.
It's actually very nice, but the screen is too bright for the camera.
Mm-hmm.
It's
And this is a project for like getting the engineers my project to get the air quality index more accurate, because the ones being published in I don't know where it's being published. I forgot that site. Like it's not very accurate because it's an average of the whole day, right?
Yes, and there is actually a third-party measurement site that relatively accurate, but they do not publish how they get the result.
The goal is to pressure the people that in charge of the policies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
but well, then again, if the evidence that they have right now says that the air quality is green and it's all good, then they don't have any reason to change the policy.
So
it's their own distortion field.
so what happened is this is actually okay. This is a bit off topic, but one of the goal of citizen science is to allow citizens to start taking measurement in a relatively reasonably accurate tool in an inexpensive way. Then, as the citizens do science, they collect data that can be used to engage their policymaker.
Yep. If there's no point saying like the reading is wrong, is might as well like present them with our own readings and stuff.
Correct.
So will engineers might be mass producing and distributing these sensors?
Maybe I don't know. It depends on my experiment, really.
Also, everything's on you, Swimming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So there'll be a Kickstarter from Seeming soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chances is we will just release a recipe. So it'll be recipe. So that's it. I'm done with the Buzz Corner. Anything to add?
Right. No.
Nope. All right, let's talk about jobs. Who don't have jobs?
That's the topic for today.
Who don't have jobs? Just kidding.
Yeah.
Everyone have jobs. It's called DevKami. Also kidding. We actually have dev job. DevKami doesn't pay us enough. Just click a lot of like if you want us to have a Patreon account.
Yeah.
So if you click a lot of like, it means that you want us to have Patreon account and do that. Oh, don't do that. Google will delete us.
People have been clicking dislike. I think it's like the same people clicking on dislike or for like a set.
Yeah.
On some of the videos. I'm not sure why, but yeah. So if you can click like on YouTube, or if you subscribe on Spotify, then the algorithms and the powers that be will probably list us up higher.
Put it this way, you do not need to sacrifice a goal, just a thumbs up and clicks. So just sacrifice your likes, then the gods will be so blessed.
We have been eaten by the YouTube algorithm. We just sound like all of the other YouTubers now.
Yes.
Please click like and subscribe.
Yes. We do not need you to sacrifice a goal, just your like. So, all right. So jobs.
Yeah.
I'm going to assume that most of us here are from the technical field, as in software development and ops, right?
I'm in a janitorial.
But IT janitor, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you clean up servers, not floors, right?
Yeah, clean up systems.
Correct. So yes, in a way, we are having a job as a technical field, which is Tristan. So the next question is, how do you find jobs?
I had a interesting story. Some of my friends tell me it's a romantic story. I found my job in Malaysia through an online MMORPG.
Oh, okay.
So one of my friends, my ex-colleagues, he was playing an MMORPG that I happened to be playing as well, and we were chatting, and then he said, "Hey, my company is hiring more developers," and he knew that I was a developer, and so okay, it's my first time actually working outside of my country, but because I knew him, I actually don't know him personally. I only knew his avatar and who he claimed he was, and so I actually just said, "Okay, I'm submitting my resume," and the whole.
Oh my goodness!
So it's like
the dude can easily sell you here to be a slave or what?
Yeah. But it all worked out well. So I'm here now.
Yeah, nice.
Exactly.
That's really romantic.
Awesome.
I know. If it was like so something like I moved countries just to be with this online character and know this person or who.
Yeah, sounds like some love scam.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it worked out for me in the end.
Yeah.
But here's the thing though. I know since you're from the Philippines, is there a bureaucratic hurdle for you?
To
to work
to
here?
work here?
Yeah.
Oh yes,
or
there's a lot. Not for the Malaysian stuff. Like, well, because expats need for the knowledge workers under MSc, right? Then it's not for me, but for the company who's hiring me. There's a lot of bureaucracy there because they need to get their foreign knowledge quota submitted, and then they need to prove that they um, they cannot really find people who can do whatever it is that I can do.
Okay.
They have to get they have so there's the quota, and then there needs to be an approval, and they need to get this special expatriate employment pass from MDEC, and that's just for the company, right? So that's a lot of things. Plus, in order for them to be able to hire knowledge workers under MSc, they need to be in an MSc building, and they have to have MSc status, which is like a whole different kind of bureaucracy on its own. For me, it's different because in order for me to be hired as a foreign knowledge worker, I need to have at least a master's degree, and there needs to be, like, I think the cutoff when I first came here a few years ago was 2,500, but I think it's now about I don't know, I think 3,000. Like,
Okay, what is this again?
Sorry.
What is this 3,000 ringgit thing?
For foreign knowledge workers for MSc.
Okay.
It's a recurring cost, or you?
No,
it's
your
just a one-time fee?
minimum salary
Oh,
should
okay.
be 3,000.
Okay. So
Before
generally,
it was 2,500. But I'm
so
not sure what it is now because they've been increasing it.
so I'm going to say this. You're the one that steal our junior developer's job. Just kidding. Ignore me.
Well, it was, well, then again, 2,500 back when I started, that was actually a lot better than what I could get in the Philippines. So
Yeah.
it's actually maybe one of the reasons why, um, like, I actually chose to move, not just because of the romantic MMORPG, the avatar, and know that person behind the mask or whatever. It's just because it was economically more, like, better for me
Okay.
versus the opportunities that I have in the Philippines.
Okay. How about Chi Leong? I know Chi Leong is mostly self-taught technical person. How's the job market like for you for hiring?
Okay, like I work with people from the community, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had some issues with getting people to believe I can actually code in the early days. Then it's the community basically solved it for me. Just hang around the community and working with people that around. See, I think my case is similar to swimming. Like, we be working with people that we know.
Yeah, but yes and no actually, because my career path is relatively standard really. By comparison of three of us is relatively standard. A computer science degree or an engineering degree make it very easy for you to get into a computing job for MNC. I do start from MNC and I do join MNC. So I do not actually, not all job is from community, but I tend to have more luck within community. But then I'm not the worst programmer on the planet, so
that's so humble of you.
People among our community is generally fine in terms of skill set. I'm going to be honest with you. So as long you got you have the right checkbox, it's not hard for people among our community to go for
a bit off topic. If you plan to, like, work on yourself, not planning to go around, like, working in other countries and stuff, not getting a degree is actually okay.
Yeah.
But if you want to do that, like, also, like, work for, like, a company outside of Malaysia, like really relocating, then as Tristan shared, like, you have to go through the hurdle of those documentation and stuff. That is when the lack of a degree will hurt you.
Yeah.
So that's my advice. Yeah.
So a few people from our community have been trying to work in Singapore. Unfortunately, they can't because officially they don't have a degree. But it does make it easier after they actually finish the degree. So this is actually one of our advice to the young one.
Yeah, a lot of them they think like the following like the US model. There's a lot of advices like then you tend to go for of course you're from the US, like basically it's the center of the technical industry.
Yes.
So it's fine, but if you're trying to go somewhere else, then you have to take consideration of that.
Correct.
Yeah.
So checkbox. Put it this way. Some people can do it and manage to do it, but the easier for a person to take a checkbox, the easier for you to go.
Yeah.
So that's my easy answer about going to traditional industry or going overseas. Because I know people that try, didn't work out, but they finish the degree, it's a lot easier for them to move up. So that's my thing.
But you know why degrees are still a thing, right? Because it is a proxy for
correct.
For performance, because there's information asymmetry. Basically, the future employer does not know whether this person can do the job or not.
Correct.
And the degree is like a proxy for that information. Like, okay, I'm not sure if you can do the job or not, but because you can show me a degree that at least showed a university that you can do the job, then I will trust that indirectly as something that can show that you can do the actual job.
Unfortunately, this is the case, despite the fact that it's not always so, because most of us that work in the industry see two sides of the coin. There is self-taught programmer that is very good and also not that good. We also had people that so-called computer science degree that don't work very well, and some that actually works very well. So it's not a mutually exclusive thing. But that said, yes, it's a shortcut, it's a proxy, right?
And it's also it's also an excuse. Like
yes,
for hiring managers, they wouldn't want to just hire someone and then it turns out to be a catastrophe.
Correct.
They would rather hire someone with a degree, and if it doesn't work out, they'd say, "Oh, but I followed all the protocols and I checked all the boxes.
Yes,
it didn't work out. It's not my fault."
Correct. So lesson number 2: just because you had a checkbox, it's not the excuse for you not improving yourself.
It's not that it's impossible, but it's just that if you don't plan to take the like hard mode of getting into the industry of getting things done, you just finish your degree program.
Or you can join DevKami community, then you can find job easily. Or engineers.my.
Yeah.
Or pycon.my, things like that. All right.
The next point.
So the next point is I don't want to talk about salary but
what's wrong with salary?
Well, I'm not sure whether I'll get fired for saying whatever you say.
Yeah, just go ahead, man.
But okay, so here's the thing, right? What is the salary expectation when in the industry?
Like a junior dev or
no. Yeah, let's put it in tier if you want to.
I think at least from what I remember, the going rate for juniors would be around 5.
Like interesting.
Well, average 4 to 6 probably. Oh, that's Mind Valley salary though. We have the tiers stuff, and so I think this was because of the startups around, like generally the competition, and we really wanted to hire like really good talent. So even if at the junior level, you're already starting at least around 4K. So it's like beyond the 3K minimum for a foreign knowledge worker.
Yeah. So
it's like 6 if you're like really good, you just needed more experience.
So your junior rate is 5K.
Well, on average.
Okay. What's the definition of junior?
Junior would be someone who, so it depends really on how you would answer the entrance exams. So the coding challenges, for example. It really tells us a lot about how you think and how you would solve a problem, and based on that we kind of know, okay, you're the way you solve this problem is how a junior would solve the problem, and so we'll slot you in there. And maybe the way you solve the problem would be quite interesting, then you're probably on the higher, like a more median level developer, a mid developer. For senior developers, they have a completely different thing. Like you need to have like team lead experience, for example, or you've been working for at least 5 years already on a particular stack that we're interested in.
Okay, Chiliang, how about you?
But I'm not sure of how they hire right now, though. That was when I was there.
I don't hire people.
No. It's less about if you are hiring, how you will go.
You gotta pay by what sort of things they can do, like similar to tier. Yeah, instead of categorizing them as junior and stuff, I categorize by capability.
Yep, go on.
It's basically something I learned from my startup time is how much value you can provide. It's just like that. It's simple math.
Well, it's not so simple for some,
I mean,
because how do you get people?
It might be a bit controversial. Like if I'm gonna train you, you like, come on. If I'm gonna train you on the job, you basically paid school a lot of money to learn nothing, and you want me to train you for the job, like something like that. It's not something that is really fair.
Okay. So my little experience on seniority level is, I'm going to be a bit more traditional. Fresh graduate, at most you can get 3K at most lah.
Yeah.
Not 5K. Junior developer. Unfortunately, the way industry work, from my experience, is up to senior level. Senior level, as in over 5 years, your salary might be up to 4-5K. When you're senior, our senior just over 5 to 7K or so. I think this is very interesting because my personal experience tells me that unless your management, you'll almost never reach 10K, but this is my personal experience.
Well, it really depends as well. So we've had a number of applicants for senior level development, but when you start actually asking them like things, it's very, very different. Like you know that they've probably been spending 5 or 7 years just configuring web servers and those things, and the only reason why they apply as a senior developer is because they've been doing it for a long time. And so it's really different like whenever you do the interview or like get answers to some of the coding questions, you can immediately tell this guy knows what or this girl or whoever this person is knows what they're talking about, right? Like when you talk to a senior developer that actually knows what they're talking about, it immediately clicks. Those are like far and few in between. Many of the people that have gone through the application process demand that they be considered for the senior developer, when no, I'm sorry, but your skill set is only for a junior developer.
Yes.
I cannot offer you more. And
So-
even though you've been working for 7 years, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right, which is why I really think
I think also
the way of valuing is absolutely correct, right? It's the thing is it's also subjective.
I think the difference between junior and senior is not just for the knowledge part. It's about like maturity of handling and solving a problem.
Yep.
Like some people, they reach their peak pretty soon, but they can still be like leading and doing senior stuff.
Yeah. So some people, it's not the contribution of a team is not just the ability for the code. Contribution of team can be also non-technical. How do you organize a team? How do you help out some tasks, right? So that's where things get a little bit more interesting, because traditional hiring tends to be like, can you code? Can you do X? Can you do Y? But whereas in most organizations, what's in not whether they can do X or Y. To be really useful actually means actually means that you need to do more. Can you help your team member? Can you do this? Can you suggest ways to be more effective? It's not really about just can you code 100 lines of code. Well, everybody can code 100 line of code, but is it useful? Know what I mean?
So interview tips, free interview tips from Sui Meng.
Mhm. But the only thing is that is harder to see, but that's where things like that's where the 3 month probation comes in. I think 3 months is too short for that, but
What's your sweetest number?
no,
for
3 months is okay. But to really see whether a person can contribute more beyond their technical level might be like half a year, maybe. I don't know. I don't have a good number. I don't have anything scientific, right? So, but what I can say is this: I think the traditional company ways of seniority level is outdated because technology changed, and the traditional way of hiring had tendency to allow things like, let's say you're the same person that do the same thing for 7 years, you are considered a senior.
Mm-hmm.
No, you're just junior for 7 years. I'm sorry.
I'm still a junior.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just graduated kindergarten.
But but I think that's another thing I see right now is that I think seniority level doesn't matter. What matter is how you work in a team.
I think
And that is
seniority
actually,
should be the level of maturity instead of
yeah.
how
But
long you've been sitting in the office.
So yeah, sorry. The question here now is, if I feel that I am a senior, like how do I get that senior job? Right?
And I do not have an answer for that because the problem is what we know as a good team player with lots of experience. It's not something that is bureaucratically measurable. At least it's something that I do not know how to measure.
So is the problem there that people don't know how to sell themselves, or that the companies or the hiring people don't know how to hire, or what?
It can be both. It can be both. It can be. I believe our development culture focus too much on the technical skill. As in, we don't sell ourselves as a team player. We don't try to say that I'm an organizer of team. I help them do this. My last job is about making an environment easier for my team member to contribute X, for example. So the closest we have for traditional way, I keep saying that, is that I set up a CI server to make our team effective. But the point is not CI server, it's making team effective. Do you understand my part?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's both sides then, that the person who was applying should talk about what they did in order to make the team more efficient, but the hiring person should also try and extract that kind of information, like what have you been doing and
yes,
how has this been helping people, for example.
correct.
That's what you're hiring for.
Yes, I think something that a team should evaluate is not just how many years you use certain stack of tools, but what have you done for the team for your last job. I think that is a good measure. It's not a scientific measure, but it's a measure that you can look at. What you guys think?
Yeah, it's a good point. Like instead of yes, there might be some technical questionnaire and stuff to gauge your knowledge, but by sharing what you did previously, also very important. The way how you present it, the way
Yes.
how you know I mean, it's very easy to see that whether somebody knows what they're doing from sharing or explaining what they did previously.
Yep. For some reason, I think it's something that we keep other role, but not for some reason it doesn't seem to happen for senior technical role. But it's my observation. I could be wrong.
So how do I find all of these companies, like enlightened companies that know what to ask for? Like where are they basically?
I don't know. I work in one. To be honest, I work in.
I think is interview
startup
is
environment. Startup environment is closed.
I think interview is a two-way thing. So it's actually the company to see whether you're suitable as well, and also for you to see whether the company is suitable for you, and also like if they you I mean it's always up to us to whether to suggest like whether they are acceptable to certain things that we want to suggest.
Correct. A junior person might just want the experience immediately. We as a senior people should really see whether the environment fits what we can do.
Yeah, because you mentioned swimming, you are in one, I'm in one.
Yeah.
Right? Chilyong is in one. Like many people who are who already found like a good environment tend to stay there, and so they don't like move around so much, right? But how like we were lucky because we knew people that we've already like seen them, like we work for people that we know, and so we tend to get those companies that we know can have this good environment. But how about the others? Like they have are this monster.com, jobsdb, whatever, and how do they actually get to pick these kinds of environments?
There is actually one role that tend to be on what the thing that we say, Scrum Master, Agile Coach. I got a feeling I could be wrong, but it occurs to me that what I say about contributing to team is something that an organization that hire a Scrum Agile based role look at.
Okay, so you think that like a good litmus test is if in the careers page of this company they're advertising for a Scrum Master position, then you think that's a good proxy for the
it's not a good proxy, but it's a good first step.
Yeah, like it's a good signal that the company is saying we are investing on the team, and so it's likely to be a good company.
In theory, yes, but there is also known case where company adopt Agile in place of project management. It's not 100% thing. It's a first step, which is why
I think you just have to be there to
correct.
See it.
Interview goes both way, as you guys said before, right? So,
so that means that the person just needs to interview a lot more.
Unfortunately,
correct.
Or join our Slack channel.
Yes,
there's a lot of really good like announcements, job announcements there.
Startup environment tend to be good at this.
They tend to be good in environments, but
no. It tend to be more closer to what we're discussing than traditional organization.
What I've discovered so far is that for startup environments, they're more on like these things, right? But they are less on like retirement benefits, for example.
Yes.
Like what do you do when you're old enough? Like is there a career ladder until senior management level 4, for example?
Yeah.
When you know that you're probably like, let's say 50, and you're still in the same company, will you just be dead weight, or will the company actually invest in you? So that's something that startup environment still does not actually
correct
contribute to, because it's all about like movement.
I think it's a balance, but from what I noticed is, but in general, startup they pay higher, so it actually compensated that part.
Yes,
in a way.
But
probably I might be wrong nowadays.
And traditional Malaysian company do not always bring up technical person very well.
Yeah.
That's actually a real problem I'm going to keep calling them traditional IT industry. If you happen to notice that you have people that works for 10 years and doing the same thing, they have a tendency that from a traditional IT background. Here's why. Traditional way of running a business is specialization, very tech specialization and all things. And being I do not know what happened in Malaysia company, or what we like to call Chinaman company. they do not invest too much on training on the new thing. As a result, they might use very old stack because of that. But I do not see the I worked with traditional company before. I do not see the opportunity to grow the skill that I want. But that is from my limited observation.
Do you want to go to? I'm gonna rush you. If you want to go to the topic.
Oh
like
yeah,
10K for
we go
expats.
too much. So the reason why we talk about
And also today's we actually have some activity in the YouTube chat. So assuming you might want to answer some of them afterwards.
yeah.
So let's answer. Let's go through our one of the topics that we have to go through. Then we're gonna answer some of the comments on YouTube.
Yeah, so the issue is, so we were talking about jobs, right? Like how
Yeah.
to find those. But is there really a shortage of jobs? Because it seems to be like people are looking for jobs, and now there is this news flash just saying expats should earn at least 10K
Yeah.
in order to be able to work. So it's basically the minimum right now is 3K. So
Yeah.
they want to increase it to 10K.
I think that is the assumption that expats are stealing
Yeah.
jobs. And 10K is seems to be a good level where it might be a high skill enough that probably is very hard to find in Malaysia.
Yeah. And is that really the case? Like, are we really having a shortage of local talent in Malaysia such that we need to like get more expats at 3K, 4K level and have them work here as knowledge workers?
I have another view for that.
Mm-hmm.
The whole making a higher barrier for overseas worker to come here is so that the people try to hire more local.
Yeah, correct. That I think that was the point of the thing.
But it's not like it's easy for. It's not like it's been really easy to hire a foreigner, like because of all the paperwork and stuff.
Yeah, because not everyone want to work in an MSC building. Those places are expensive. I'm sorry to say.
Yeah, so I let me put myself in the shoes of the policymaker, right?
Yep.
If you're saying that it's already difficult to find expat workers,
Yep.
there's not a lot of damage done to increase it because it's still hard anyway.
Yes.
It's making it a bit harder, right?
And yeah, from the look of it, like everybody is trying to hire anyway.
Yeah.
And I've seen including like you, like people like Tristan and like a lot of people in the community that Manju, like even like Fast is trying. They've been contributing a lot to the Malaysian tech scene.
Yes.
So,
okay, so the contribution is a bit different for policymaker than to us.
Yeah.
For us, the contribution beyond just job and more of the knowledge sharing.
Yeah, the
These
ecosystem.
are people that share knowledge in an ecosystem that policymakers do not necessarily see in Malaysia. But you are right? But I think the 10K while protect job is also a shortcut. The shortcut here is the shortcut is a shortcut for skill level, which you already said before, right? It's a shortcut for skill level.
Yeah, so it's more like you know, when a patient is under a heart attack and you do use that electric thing, I forgot what it's called, the paddles. It's like that where you shock the system by making a really high barrier, so that there will be some screaming and kicking at least in the first year, but then as everything normalizes, then maybe the developer jobs for local, because they need now to match, it's like a tariff, right? They need to match 10K, then it moves up to that particular level as well. And
probably
it normalizes. Well, at least I think that's what the policymakers are thinking of.
Yes.
But I've seen a lot on the discussions saying that it's a bad idea. So bad idea?
From the surface, it's very outright racist to me.
Yes. Yeah. So this is a non-technical side. Non-technical side is racist as hell. Most countries benefit from more people coming in than not. In a country, this country need more people to grow the economy, not less. That's a technical reason for me. That is why this is a bad idea. I know. So the only thing is, okay, the part joke I make early on about you stealing newcomer job.
Which apparently I did anyway, but that
But
was
my
before the
job, though.
policy.
But
my job,
I think here's the thing. Here's the thing, right? The industry need more people, so you're not stealing job. You're just taking a job. Otherwise, we have no people that nobody are taking it anyway.
But is that really true? Like, is there a shortage? Because that only means
Yes.
that I took the job and contributing because
Yeah.
nobody else wanted to do
For-
Yeah,
what I was
correct.
doing.
For tech is, I think we are in a, we're always looking for people.
Yes,
We're in a drought in a way.
correct. But the another side of it is there's a belief that the skill level is not good enough.
Is that true?
Yes and no. From our previous discussion from education, the school didn't teach enough, and people that want to join do not have enough experience. So it's part yes and no. That said, the type of job that Malaysians need are not extremely complex in a way that the fresh people can go in, start getting experience, then grow from there. That's my opinion on it.
Yeah, I also feel that there's a lot of really good talent. Most of them are already hired anyway, so that's why it's very difficult to hire good talent, because the good talent already are working on like really good companies that they like, right?
Correct.
The only problem that at least I personally was having when I was still hiring was that the people want to present themselves with like as a level up or a level more than they actually can do.
Yep.
So they have this gap of what they feel they can do and what they actually can do, and I think that was the issue. It's not that there's a shortage; it's more that there's a misalignment of what the skill level actually is.
And that is actually a real problem. Which leads to another thing that I want to raise. We got 5 more minutes before we go and answer question. There's a perception of what a developer worth in the industry. Startup is a bit better. Traditional of industry not so much. There is a belief that technical skill only worth that much. They do not worth, which is why we do not see technical person with a salary up to 10K. We just don't have. It's just unheard of. Either you do your own business as a consultant or your manager. And why I want to keep saying that, this is a sign of wage suppression.
Okay.
Because there's a belief that at 10K, you should not do technical work, for example. Right?
Yeah.
So you mean it's not worth it?
Oh, okay.
Like it's not worth pounding on the keyboard and pay this
No, it's an assumption. It's an assumption that the job is easy.
No, I think the assumption is like coding is like a dirty work, like technician jobs that
Correct.
should. And as a what you call it, engineering supervisor, you should just have the high level overview of things instead of getting involved with the process.
Okay, I was always wondering why solutions architect is like a thing. And now I think you're onto something, like doing all of these, like what I would call like astronauts all way up in the air making their castles, and then just showering us with like blueprints of what to do, right?
Yeah. So
interesting.
In fact, a traditional university education, you will lead to people sit in office and approving project. Engineers do not go out. Civil engineers do not go out and to lay bricks or operate tractors. But this is what we software developers do. We or lay bricks. Which is why there's a very skilled way of looking at what is a technical job and how much it worth. That may be one reason. As a result, there's a real wage suppression, but it's not I do not believe that is relevant to your 10K thing, 10K for expats. But there is an issue of how much a technical work is worth.
You
And
know,
there's actually,
if it brings, I mean, if it brings value, why not?
yeah, which is why startup is more ahead than most company, because the value is looked at value than the type of job. As a result, some company for technical role can up to 10K, but it's almost always is consultancy or startups. That's the only two places where this happens.
Mhm.
So
Not,
okay,
not banks, really, not banks.
not banks.
Okay,
There is occasionally there might have some people, one or two elites that go there. I know.
like blockchain.
Oh no, actually, it's like one of my former boss is paid.
I'm triggering swimming. We were already over
Trigger
time.
game, yeah.
Yeah, one of my former boss got paid very well because he actually had a lot of experience.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just experience same things. He's actually part of the Y2K preparation committee.
Mm-hmm.
So he actually worked that much.
Next one is the Unix thing, 2013.
Yeah, correct. Okay, I think we should really wrap up whatever we want to say and start answering the question.
Well, we can just start answering the questions. M5 stack. Someone was asking about the M5 stack.
Yeah,
Or what's
I
the
pasted the
business
link.
called?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
pasted the link.
And
So
10 was saying you can hook up with Kiasu Lab. Sorry, you were saying, Chilong?
no, and there's a lot of love message from Nashro. Swimming, I love you.
Yeah.
Yo,
So Nazro
love you.
is very interesting because he actually worked overseas and he is currently working overseas. But I know the company he worked with. They is one of the more liberal IT company. It's in the Netherlands. So Nazro as an experience is very experienced in IT, so he see both sides. But I do not know his experience fully. But he
We
did.
might want to get him on the show.
Oh,
Yeah.
we should
Talk
do
about it.
that as long the time zone doesn't clash because it's in the Netherlands now.
Oh, okay.
So he calls you Sweet Meng, so I like him already.
Yeah.
Sweet Meng.
We should ask him. He had in fact we can ask so many things from him.
Yeah.
But he had a lot of experience on this because he used to work in Singapore and all that, but he do not necessarily directly come from an IT degree.
So Cardwang, which is the CEO of Beta Code,
Yep.
which is a consultancy like what you were talking about 3 to 4K for juniors. So about that time, but he was saying that some of the people have already joined a more glamorous company. So I guess this is the problem or like the issue that startups face as well, that startups usually want to hire good talent and are willing to pay for it, but they can't because they don't have the runway. That because they're starting up, right? They don't have really the cash flow for that, and so most of the people get like attracted by the bigger companies that can pay more, but maybe the environment is not as good. Like your growth opportunities are not as well. Yeah. Then we have probations where 1 year, Solution.10 says 1
Nicholas,
year.
basically, he's actually Nicholas.
Yeah.
Nicholas?
If you tabalik, his name is Nicholas.
Aha, okay. Interesting. Yeah, so it's like instead of like we were talking about 3 months probation, Swimming says 6 months. And
it's
Nicholas
going
says,
out to 1 year.
1 year.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Cool.
he's actually correct.
Why not? If you are compensated,
yeah.
okay.
Put it this way, I think it's
Why
silly
not?
the whole probation. Okay, on the other hand, company can fire you anytime you not perform anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
It's not so simple though. It's,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a lot harder after probation. After probation.
Oh, so and it's also making this good point that it's really about English comprehension when you're working with people. It's not just about code because that's actually what you're expected to do, but it's a plus when you can understand the requirements and talk to people and get to know them, get more information, right?
Put this way, but English is not wrong because IT is English heavy. It's English heavy, unfortunately. But I would prioritize culture fit more.
Yeah, we want to expand a whole episode about culture fit.
Yes, because I left the
What
company
does that
because I'm a half
mean?
banana.
Yeah, because we've always been having argument in the chat channel about what does culture fits mean. Like
Yeah.
everybody has their own definition of culture fit.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So maybe DevKami 26 culture.
Yeah.
Mm. And Cargueng, again, beta code,
Yeah.
saying a number of startups started by hiring foreign fresh grads. And I guess they became successful because they hired like really good talent as fresh grads and they just grew with the company. So they infused much needed information on
Mhm.
these startups, making the point that maybe 10K might be too much because you also want to attract really good people who might want to work for like 5K or 4K.
Yep.
Then I guess that goes back to our original topic, where is that considered stealing jobs?
Yeah. But unfortunately, if you can't, you can't.
I
Mhm.
think the one good thing about I don't think people are actually stealing jobs because a lot of the time we
You
have
need
the
more hands.
advantage. Yeah, we have the advantage of local context and also like the language part where we
Mhm.
can understand each other's pretty easily.
So we need more hand actually. I'm sorry. So which is why I think a cap is not a great idea. Yeah, in a way that they are not wrong. In the also that anybody that goes overseas education, do get more knowledge because our computer science education here is pretty bad. So I'm going to be very honest here. So they are not wrong to hire overseas
Yeah.
student. Uh, that means which says that it means that if you happen to have a student, you need to spend more time self-taught because that's the level you are against.
Yeah.
Alakotubak just had a follow-up question. How important is money for you guys when looking at jobs? It's an interesting question, but I don't think we have time to answer it
No,
this
yeah, we
session.
don't.
Maybe during culture, if we are talking about culture next week,
Yeah.
maybe that can be like part of it, like
Okay.
culture versus
Money. Yeah,
financial.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we're gonna cover that next week then.
All right.
Mhm.
So it looks like we have a topic next week. So that
Mhm.
being said, we're just on time. So anything else before we say goodbye?
Yeah.
Like and
Yeah.
subscribe. Where's YouTube slaves now?
Don't sacrifice. We don't
Yeah.
sacrifice
If you
goals,
like swimming, you click
but
likes.
likes. Yes. We just
Yeah.
sacrifice the clicks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's it. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening from us. I love
Yeah.
your feedback.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So I hope you listen to us next week
Yeah.
and
For
all that.
swimming, please
Yes.
come here to
Okay.
support swimming.
Bye.